Hey everyone, so we're back again for another account review. Today I have vanillawaifu, someone who found me in Twitch stream. As always, you can always find me in anything I'm doing on Twitch stream, or email me in order to get an account review. Either way, I'm putting up the information as normal. This is how you contact me and how you'll be able to get an account review with the information I would need. Nothing really much to go over other than that. Other than tomorrow I'm going to have a vlog I'm putting out that kind of just talks about what I've been doing, but I'll go over that then. For now, let's go ahead and get going with this account review. So looking at the email from vanillawaifu, I have they mentioned here that giants it looks like giants can be done within 2 minutes. And that they are working on DB10, but can't do DB9 perfectly fine. They would like to be able to do DB10 and maybe R3 or R4. So those are all great aspirations. He didn't mention anything about TOA, so I'm going to assume that he has TOA taken care of. So, looking over the monsters that he actually has a lot of great options. And for this point, I'll just talk to you directly, Vanilla. It looks like you are doing really well in the options that you have here. You have quite a few good monsters. But let's just talk real quick about the monsters that I personally use for DB10, because you have, from what I could tell, you have all of them. So, first off, I use Megan. I use a Bella, a Vero, a Theomars, and man, I'm brain farting so hard right now. Oh, I use a Vertiheel. That's correct. So most people will say that, well, if I don't have a Vertiheel, I can't do it. That's perfectly fine. There's actually a monster that you have already, 2 different ones that can work pretty well. So first off, Beretta is a global speed lead and does not perfectly the job of Vertiheel, but does a pretty good job. Now, the problem with this is that if you're going to run Beretta as your speed lead, that means everyone else's speed has to be on point because you don't have the extra boost from Vertiheel. And in that case, you want to be looking at making sure that Veramos and Bella are both above 200 speed. So you have that already with Veramos, and I assume he's on, okay, Violent, very good. And I assume the same thing. Oh, wow. Okay, so if your Bella is going to be on Swift, that's perfectly fine. You can keep it that way, but she needs to be somewhere around 220, I would say, if you don't have a Vertiheel going. But either way, definitely needs to be over 200, either Violent or Swift, no matter what. Over 200. Nail that. Accuracy for Dragons B10 becomes 55 is what you want to shoot for, and it looks like you're nailing that with them. You use Megan as your backup, I assume, for stripping. And she's mostly fine running right around where she's at for speed. That's good. If you're going to use Theomars, you might want to consider putting a little more HP on him. You'll have to play around with it. Mine runs around here and does just fine, but I have a lot more speed that I'm running with because of Vertiheel. However, I have also heard plenty of people say that by far and away, Teor is absolutely the best Dragons B10 killer. You want to get some more health on him. He does have his health too low right now. His attack is pretty good. His speed is really good. Crit rate and crit damage look good. Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's good. The only thing you would have to do, keep him about where he's at right now and get him more HP. Worst case scenario, drop his speed down a little bit. It's going to decrease some of his damage from Squall, but he needs to be able to take some shots. So, yeah, I think those would be your best options. Now, some things you could do along the side. You could run a Hua in order to keep the dragon from taking turns. That's going to require that you boost up the HP to about 20,000. Her speed is going to be pretty good. Crit rate and crit damage are great. Accuracy, you're probably going to want to get up to 55 if you're going to run her on dragons. But she would also work pretty well. A lot of people will use Sigmaris. I have not skilled mine up or given it good enough runes, so it's still not worth using for me. But if it's skilled up or you've done anything with it, it looks like you're in about the same position as me where you haven't put like great runes on it. Oh no, there's some good stuff on here. You can actually take the crit rate if it helps you out. You can take the crit rate and move it down to 85 and still have a 100% crit rate in dragons. Simply because water, you know, the element advantage gives you an extra 15% on your crit chance. But you know, her stats look mostly fine. So it looks like mostly what you're having problems with is your speed isn't good enough on some of your key monsters. So Bella really needs it because she's your main armor break, cleanse, armor break, stripper, and healer. So she does a lot of important responsibilities, which means she needs the best possible defense. One option you can use as a stripper and a general just great damage dealer is Soha. Soha is really good if you want to try playing around with her. She could actually take the place of Megan because you really want 2 strippers in case the first one misses. Unless you're killing it before the first tower goes down. And by the way, I do not advocate for anyone using the tower strategy. If you're using the tower strategy, which means that you kill the immunity tower, then you kill the dragon, there's a good chance you're just not ready for dragons. You should be able to just go straight at the dragon and strip the immunity off when he gets it, and at some point you'll actually be so fast that you'll kill him before the immunity hits him. Yeah, so a couple monsters that you could swap in place of. You could actually put Soha in place of Megan. She would actually be a good damage boost, but you'd lose some survivability without Megan's buff. Again, you'll have to play with it, see what you like, but Soha might work actually pretty well. Again, her health would need to be up near the 18,000 range. You'd want to put some good attack on her, probably in the area. I mean, she wouldn't be so bad on attack, crit damage attack, but your main points you need to hit is enough health for her to survive. So, you know, 18,000. A decent defense, probably around 800. A speed that's somewhere around 160, 170 because she needs to be stripping. And then an accuracy, like I said, of about 55. That's what you'd be shooting for on her. Another strategy to help you out with the amount of time you have on your immunity window, or at least where he doesn't have immunity, is to run Spectra. Spectra focuses on 2 different things that are really good. One, he has an attack based purely on the enemy's max HP, which means it does a ton of damage to the DB10 boss. He will use up a little bit of his own health during the process, which means that he will need some extra healing. That sometimes ends up with him dying first out of everyone. It just happens. I mean, that's the nature of using that. But Backlash is going to make it so that you can reduce the attack bar and slow the tower and the dragon. And the main thing to realize there is, even though the tower is then going to turn around and put immunity on and cleanse that off, the tower itself is still going to have the slow, which means the time till it puts immunity on again is increased even more, which means you have even more time to take that immunity off and then work on the dragon for even longer. What I find a lot of the time is I have a lot of dots that I put on, and then those dots get cleansed off. He gets the immunity. I strip that, I get an armor break, and before I can put any more dots on, he takes his turn, and I've lost the chance to get dots on him to do that damage that he would have taken otherwise. So yeah, so those are the monsters. Just taking a look at what you have here that I would recommend starting to work on. Those are going to be very useful. At some point, by the way, Lisa is amazing. You'll actually want to go ahead and start working on her because she can work really well for Dragons B10, but in addition to that, she's one of the best cleansers in the game. So you may actually want to start working on her now if you want to raid cleanser. She's going to be awesome. So you said you want to start getting ready for raid 3 and 4. So first off, most people will recommend raid 4 is where you start. I mean, you have to obviously clear your way up there, But Raid 4 is where green grindstones and things like that stop dropping. And the cost to grind a rune is so expensive that using green ones just... It's not mana efficient. You'd rather be using that on leveling up runes that you find to see if you get better runes. So really what you're wanting to focus on is about R4. And there's a few different roles. Actually, in the description down below, I'm adding a guide from the Summoner's War forums that tells you the roles that you want to fill. But in short terms, you need a couple things. Actually, let me bring it up here so that I can just read it off myself and not look like a moron. Okay, so this is from the moderator Skeleton on the Summoner's War. Well, it's the Come to Us forums, and then within that, the Summoner's War forums. So there's essentially 6 positions you're filling, right? So one of those should be either Darien or Diaz. They're the ones that have the passive that just overall reduces damage to the rest of the group. This is going to be absolutely critical for making sure that your group stays alive. So that's just a general one there. You get one of those. I don't think I saw a Diaz anywhere in your lineup here. And I don't know if you ever got a Darien, but they can be farmed. You can just go on Sundays, wait for someone to have a light vagabond dungeon pop, go in, get it, you're good to go. Now, that is your first position. Your second position should absolutely just be Colleen. Her kit is far too good to ignore. It looks like you already at least are semi-aware of this as you've been working on her. It looks like you put some good runes on her, so I don't need to explain to you you know, what you need to do. It looks like you're already aware of that. A lot of people will tell you not to put her on Violent because that actually there's a mechanic where every turn a monster gets, the boss gets a little token up to a count of 15. After that, it does a big attack. And so monsters who are just eating up turns with Violent are actually a detriment to your team. But in theory, if your runes are good enough, you can get by it. This is more a starter guide. But it is important to note that it might be causing you problems if you leave her on Violent. And you can read through all this in the description from what I'm putting down below. Number 3, you need a cleanser. Now, you have 2 different options on this. Option 1 is that you get a cleanser with a violent speed on violent runes. This one is allowed to be on violent runes, and have 220 speed or more. If not, you'll need 2 cleansers, and they need to both be on violent, but the speed requirements are cut in half. So 110 on each. So that is either 3 or 4 monsters down. Then you need a healer. Chasuns are great. Who do you actually have? I might be going over someone. By the way, Colleen is not considered a healer for these purposes. Oh yeah, you do have a Chasun. Okay, great. You probably have yours. Oh, okay, you didn't even bother putting yours on Violent. Great. I have mine on Violent. I'm not going to be... I can't be taken... I can't take it off. For purposes of Guild Wars, I want her to have Violent. So I'm probably going to suffer for that, but, you know, so be it. But yeah, it looks like you're doing the right thing there, as far as she goes. I would suggest that her speed be a little bit higher, just as a heads up. Because I heard that the R5 boss actually has like 180 speed himself. It's pretty crazy. Percentage-based healers are obviously best. And by the way, you could use Bella if you really wanted to, but since you have a Chasun, I would say that's the best way to go. Oh, and you have Praha. You have Praha. That's great. So you actually might want to consider Praha, because Praha has the resistance skill leader, and very few people, like most of the monsters that are easy to get that have global leaders are unfortunately tend to be defense. You know, like Shangfei, for instance, or Ravidi, or Fedora. They all have defense leads. So if you used her, she would actually be a great one, believe it or not. And you know, obviously you have spare on her, and that's not going to do anything for you. But you can, you know, at the very least, for purposes of R4, you can just leave her on that, and it would be fine. It's not going to make a huge deal. Okay, number 5. You need a damage dealer. And I'm just going to tell you now, everyone says best hands down damage dealer is Hua. So that's what I was telling you, start working on her, because she's going to do you a lot of good. You can go for multiple people. There's other options you could try if you really wanted to. Theo would not be great. He has a passive that once silenced would probably do him not really a lot of good. Tayor is a bit... if you have him on Violent... No, you don't have him on Violent. He could be good. The problem is his first attack, which does continuous damage, and his third attack, which freezes, are going to be completely useless to you. Sigmaris. Sigmaris could be an option, though all of her freezing stuff you're going to completely lose out on. But I would say, you know, in the long run, Hua is going to be way better than Sigmaris, so I would go that way if I was you. Okay, so here's a really cool thing that just for the future you can save up for. A lot of people have been saving, you know, ever since that HOH, they've been using their Rans for Necro. So you can have a really slow Ran, right? And it looks like something of what you're kind of trying to set up here. You could have that really slow Ran, and then turn around and put all your good speed runes on Hua, so that you don't have to worry about the Necro speed reduction affecting her. So that's actually really good. You have a great lineup here. You have a lot of options. And then the 6th spot is going to be someone that you just need. You need for purposes of trying to clear stuff. So you can kind of go a couple different ways with this. You're basically trying to fill whatever slot you don't have. You could do a secondary damage dealer. You could do another cleanser. Actually, if you need the 2 cleanser option, that's going to be your 6th, by the way. I don't think you're going to need a healer. You already have one of the best healers with Jasun. Most likely, the thing that you're going to be missing out on that you really, really need to get is a good lead. So, if you use Praha as your healer, you're good. You're probably not going to have to fight anyone for the resistance one. Like I said, most people are want defense. So basically, you'll want to set someone up as kind of the fill-in for whatever comp. You know, the 6th slot is going to be how do you make the team of people that's currently showed up work the best, right? And if that's getting a defense leader in there, that's doing that. If it's getting another cleanser in there, that would be working. So whatever works for you, but you need to fill roles. You need to try and make sure you're getting all your armor breaks and glancing, slows, attack breaks, all that stuff in. So whoever would work for you on that, like I said, I personally think that a great R4 team for you would be Darien, because I assume you have a Darien somewhere in your bank. Praha for your healer, Colleen as your general healer, heal block, attack break, heal. She has all kinds of stuff, but she's just kind of she's a great one for raid. So what are we talking about? So we had Darien, Colleen, Praha. Your cleanser. Your cleanser should be Lisa. Lisa is going to rock out. If you can get her going, more power to you. She's going to be your best cleanser, hands down. If you can't get her above 220 with Violent, so I'm not a big fan of it, but Mav does have a bit of a cleanse with a speed buff. Everything else, though, would be useless that he has, so it wouldn't be great. Trying to see who else you have. You can, in a tight situation, use Veramos, but again, the problem with him is that both his skill 1 and skill 2 are useless other than just doing damage, and his skill 3 can be Oblivion. So it could turn out that he's completely useless for a couple turns, short of just throwing some extra damage on the pile. Yeah, you don't seem to have a lot of cleansers, so I would possibly take a look into working on some... Oh, Konamiya. Konamiya would work. build out Konomiya, get some extra health on him so that he can survive, and that would work as a great secondary healer if you wanted to go that way. And then for your damage dealer, Hua. Absolutely, she'll rock. And she's not too far off of what you want her for right now, except for she needs to get some more health. She'll die too quickly in R5, and probably R4, maybe not so much in R3, but yeah, more health on her and you'd be doing fine. Okay, so I think that about covers it. I think I have all of the information for you there. Like I said, I'm going to put a link to that article in the description down below, so check that out. It gives full details, even more than what I gave, and I think it would help you out quite a bit. So Dragons B10, R4, R5, yeah, I hope that would be able to work out for you, and send me an email. Let me know how it goes for you. Alright? So, everyone, I am putting up the information one more time on how to contact me if you would like to have me do an account review for you. And then, other than that, though, that's about it. Look forward to tomorrow, where I'm going to have a vlog talking about what I'm currently working on my own account and what I have. Should be pretty interesting, because I just 6-starred 4 different monsters today, and I'm in the process of trying to level them. Alright, have a good one. Bye.